How well do you understand the finances in your business? Is it one of those things that you really just hate to do? Is it one of those areas where you're just embarrassed to ask your accountant the questions that you think make you look really stupid? And is it one of those things that just kind of seems the bane of your life and you constantly try and put to the back of the queue and deal with it when you absolutely have to? Or is it one of those things that actually you've been working on getting to grips with and you think you're doing pretty well with it? Hopefully it's the latter, but just in case, I wanted to actually come and talk to you today about understanding your business's break-even point, because this is such a fundamental thing for every business. But let's be honest, it's not something we're taught about in school. It's not something that anybody teaches you when you set up your business. So unless you actually go out there and actively find out how you're supposed to understand and measure this stuff, then you probably don't know. But it's also something that what I found over the years with my clients is the more people get to understand these kind of numbers, the more they actually feel like a proper business owner, not somebody who's playing at it or winging it a little bit. So whilst the finances can feel daunting or overwhelming, it can often be a really pivotal thing for helping you to feel like you have control of your business and you're genuinely building an enterprise and not just creating a bit of a hobby. So your break-even point is essentially the point where your business is making money, where it can absolutely cover all of the bills, all of the outgoings. You might not have anything left at the end of the month, but absolutely everything that you need to pay is completely covered. So there are no shortfalls, no gaps anywhere. Now, it sounds super straightforward, doesn't it? And to be fair, it probably is a lot more straightforward actually than most people think. So let's talk about the really simple things first, understanding your typical monthly outlays. So there's probably lots of things that you have that are small subscriptions or maybe regular payments. Any suppliers that you have that you pay a monthly retainer. So that might be your accountant, your virtual assistant, your graphic designer, people like that. You may also have regular monthly outgoings if you've got office rent or anything like that. If you've got things like insurances, standard overheads, networking membership fees, all that kind of stuff. So those are, in many ways, those are the easy bits to work out, is what are the very regular things that you see going out of the business. So your first step to working out your break even is just checking back through your bank statements and making a list of the stuff that goes out consistently every month. Now, what can be a little bit harder to then track is the irregular payments. So if, for instance, you pay your accountant once a year, or if you have things like, let's say, FSB membership, networking group memberships that you pay 6 monthly or annually or something like that. So any kind of memberships or subscriptions or big bills that only go out once a year, it's really easy to park those things at the back of your mind, and then they suddenly crop up and it's a bit of a surprise and you're scrabbling around to cover those. Whereas to actually truly understand your business's break-even point, you should be factoring all of those things in. So if it's something that you pay once a year, then divide that by 12 and include that in your monthly total. So 1/12 of all your annual outgoings come into each of your monthly overhead figures. What you also need to be thinking about is anything you have to pay the government. So whether you've got VAT, corporation tax, personal tax, if you're self-employed, not limited. So all of that stuff where there is a tax bill at some point in the future, you really want to have as much forecasting, as much predictability, as much foresight as you possibly can about how much that's going to be, and factor that into your break even. So your perfect scenario is that however much you're going to need for whichever of those types of tax that you pay should be getting put to one side every single month. So you're not dealing with an annual tax bill once a year, you factor that in on a monthly basis. And of course, the last but most definitely not the least, and actually the thing that very often gets forgotten in this calculation, is the money that you need to draw from the business. Because what I see time and time again is that people calculate their break even based on being able to pay all of their bills. Quite often they don't include the tax and elements or the annual bills. but very often they don't include what they need to take out of the business themselves. So they just work on the basis of, I'll take whatever is left. But this is not a proper business view of things. This is very much the winging it view. And it's the type of thing actually that will keep you locked in a place of not really moving your business into decent profit because your target is lower than it absolutely needs to be. So really do factor in not just how much you can absolutely scrape by on every month, but how much you genuinely wish to take out of that business. Now, that doesn't mean that you start on your amazing goal of something that's going to get you your Aston Martin and your 56 holidays a year, but it should be something that allows you to live a decent lifestyle, the lifestyle that you would have if you had a proper job and one of those fixed wages. So that the sensible, reasonable salary that you want to draw from your business every month also has to be factored into that break-even point. Now, what you can then look at is, typically I would advise you to look at this as a monthly figure. If your business is really fast-paced, you might look at it as a weekly figure, and if you're super fast-paced, like an online retailer or something like that, then possibly you'd look at it daily. For the vast majority of people, monthly is more than enough. You don't have to get massively bogged down by this, but just understanding what that figure is and how your income compares to it, that gives you the power then and the clarity to know exactly where you're at and to know what you need to do about it if you've got to make some more sales to get to that break even, but you understand exactly how much you're short by, rather than the slight head in the sand and just hoping you get there approach. And this will help you to then take a very consistent, decent salary out of your business every month so that you are getting paid what you absolutely deserve for the probably very crazy hours that you work in your business. So I hope that has been helpful for you. Would love to hear back from you in the comments or by email as to how this resonates with you and how well you've got this in place in your own business. Please do like, comment and share the video with anybody who you think would benefit. Thank you folks, take care.